Today I'm going to share with you how to overcome an LSAT score plateau to get from a 165 up to a 175. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. I got a question here from a student who writes, "Hi Steve, I'm currently a senior double majoring in computer science and international affairs. I've always been ambitious, and now I'm aiming for a 175 on the LSAT to get into a top law school like Yale or even Harvard. I've invested in LSAT prep courses and tutoring, spending countless hours studying, but I'm stuck in the mid 160s. It feels impossible to reach 175, and this plateau is really discouraging. How can I overcome this plateau and develop the mindset and strategies needed to reach a 175? So it's good to aim for a 175 if you want a school like Yale or Harvard because their LSAT medians are approximately 175. Now, a lot of LSAT prep courses are meant only to give you a strong foundation in the basics of the LSAT. A lot of them will get you into the 150s, maybe even help you hit a 160, but they're not designed to get you a 175 because that would go over the head of most students who are in that group, just to be frank. A 175 puts you in the 99th percentile, so by definition, you're in the top 1% once you hit that score. Usually, to get into the 170s, I typically recommend private one-on-one coaching or tutoring just because the approach you take at this level is going to be a lot more personalized based on your weak areas. And I'm not only talking here about weak areas like LSAT question types, whether it's strengthen or weaken or flaw or necessary assumption. At this level, a lot of the difficulty is around the method of reasoning in the stimulus or the tricks and traps the test makers are laying in designing tempting wrong answers or unappealing right answers. And of course, it's a lot harder to go from a 165 to a 175 than it is to go from, say, a 145 to a 155 because you've already gotten a lot of that low-hanging fruit out of the way. You've already built that solid foundation. And so I would recommend that if you want to overcome this plateau and get your last 10 points up to a 175, you engage in that critical, skeptical analysis during your review process for the tough questions you're encountering. You may notice that at this level, when you're plateauing in the mid 160s, you're not noticing a whole lot of trends in the question types that you're getting wrong because, again, it's not about that any longer. You may want to look at your pacing, meaning how you're allocating your time over the course of the section. You may want to look into particular methods of reasoning that tend to trip you up or patterns in tempting wrong answers, unappealing right answers. This is part of the Socratic review method that we teach students at LSAT Unplugged through our live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You can check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, when it comes to this Socratic review method, I recommend keeping a mistake log or journal of some kind where you document your analysis. You document what you were thinking initially when you attempted the question, and then upon reflection, what you could have done differently next time around. How much time did you allocate between the stimulus and the answer choices? Was there something confusing in the wording of the stimulus? Did LSAC fail to include key indicator words for evidence and conclusion or for sufficient and necessary conditions? Maybe they buried the conclusion in the middle of the argument, making it tougher to spot. Maybe you were having difficulty allocating your time and you didn't go fast enough on the earlier part of, say, a logical reasoning section. And so as a result, you didn't have enough time to tackle the tougher questions later in the section that truly needed it. And so you can engage in this analysis on your own. You can mark timestamps as you move through the section, meaning how many minutes have elapsed when I'm at question 10? How many minutes have elapsed when I'm at question 15 or 20? How many questions am I flagging? These are all things you want to look at this level because the ones you're getting wrong, you're probably just getting them wrong because they're hard. And so you're going to knock those out bit by bit in terms of deepening your understanding. You'll review each question in depth, but because these tougher questions engage in methods of reasoning that show up relatively infrequently, you're not going to see immediate gains just from deepening your understanding of the arguments that show up. It'll take time, it'll be worth it, you'll get there in the end, but you also want to look at the strategies of how you spend your time over the course of the section. How are you building up your endurance? What is your study plan like between now and test day? Meaning, are you taking one exam a week and reviewing it in depth? Maybe 2 exams a week? Maybe up to this point, you've been drilling certain question types like parallel just because you consistently find them difficult, so it's not the most efficient use of your time. Maybe instead, even if your accuracy rate is slightly higher on necessary assumption questions, those may be a far better use of your time just because there are a lot more of them showing up on each exam. But again, at this level, it's probably not about the question stem type. It's probably a lot more about how you're allocating your time and the methods of reasoning in the stimulus that you encounter. Anyway, if you'd like my help adopting the Socratic review method for your LSAT studying, please feel free to reach out. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.